Good morning and welcome to this wet, rainy morning here in the UK. My name is Helen Jennings. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. And we've come on to do a bit of crafting this morning. So do come on and say hello if you're watching us live. Apologies that I was a minute or two late. I was very busy tidying things up. I've got my audio book going and evening, Angie. And yes, suddenly I looked at the time and it was 3 minutes past 9. So apologies, and apologies that I haven't done an All Request Friday for a couple of weeks. I knew that this morning particularly the Leaders Summit that I'm part of started yesterday, and Angie was watching on that as well. So for Angie, she had to get up incredibly early in Australia yesterday morning. But for me, it wasn't too late a night yesterday, but it is going to be an incredibly late night tonight. So it was only 9 till 10 yesterday, so that wasn't too bad here. But yes, it's going to go on till 3:30 in the morning from 7 o'clock tonight. So I'm in for a late one tonight. So it's a bit of a funny upside down day, really, because I wasn't ready for a lie-in this morning. But I'm sure I'm going to be tomorrow morning. So here we are. So I just thought we'd come and we'd have a bit of a play with something. I've got the Gilded Autumn Suite out in front of me. Now coming up, we're very nearly the end of August, aren't we, going into September? So if you do happen to have any bonus days vouchers that you haven't yet spent, do get those spent. You've only got a couple of days to do that. And if you're a demonstrator, make sure that you've signed up for On Stage at Home, because the registration for that will be closing next week. We've got exciting things coming next week in terms of a starter kit promotion, so I'll have news to share about that next week. And I have updated quite a few of my classes yesterday on my website, and I've managed to get a few events up on my Facebook page, so do look out for those. I don't know about you, but my Facebook changed, not last night, the night before. Suddenly I looked at it and the complete layout of it had changed. So that has meant that I've it's taken me longer to do these things because I've had to find how I do all these things in this new look Facebook, and what will it let me do and what won't it let me do. But I think hopefully we've got there. So if anything looks very peculiar, do let me know, and I'll have to go back to the drawing board. So do come and join me for any of those. The Gilded Autumn Suite is going to be, at the moment, we're looking at the Peony Garden with our latest Lily Pad Stamp Club, and that's going really well, and we're having a lovely time in there. And you're never too late to join those. The Whale of a Time and the Lily Pad Stamp Club, access to that is still open and available on my website. But the Gilded Autumn Suite is going to be the next one we look at. So I thought that, combined with the fact that at our team get together on Wednesday this week, I was reminding them about the idea of Love It, Chop It. I thought we'd go a Love It, Chop It route using the Gilded Autumn Suite. So let's see where that takes us. So it's a beautiful suite, lovely colourways, that mint macaron, Cajun craze, crumb cake, early espresso. It's a stamp set and punch bundle in this one. Some fabulous papers, nice ribbon, these little acorn trinkets, and the brushed metallic cardstock. So it is lovely, lovely autumny colours, which is, we're certainly creeping that way here. So ribbons, thank you Angie for sharing. We've got this really lovely sort of basket weave type mint macaron ribbon there, which is in a combo with this sort of coppery metallic size ribbon. We have the little trinkets, the little acorn trinkets. They're really lovely and they're a really good weight. And I know I've seen people that have created earrings and necklaces and sort of those sorts of things with those. They're perfect for that, as well as for adding on to your projects. This is the colours that we've got in the suite. So we've got the crumb cake, the mint macaron, early espresso, Cajun craze. Very vanilla, isn't that gorgeous? We've got the stamp set that's got all these little autumny images in. You've got the leaves. Hi Jackie. You've got the pine cones, some different leaves there, and it's one of those stamp sets. It's a 2-step stamp set. That's never easy to say. And you've got your outline stamp and you've got an infill stamp, and there you are with your little acorn. There's your top bit and there's your infill bit, because obviously you'd want to do those different colours. You've got a little ear of corn, wheat there, and just some little leaves. So really lovely. Thank you. Life is better than you. Have a beautiful day. My heart is grateful for you. So if you're doing anything sort of Thanksgiving-y, then a fabulous stamp set. And then you've got these 3 little punches, and the punches coordinate with the acorn, with this leaf just here, and with that sort of mapley looking leaf up there. So you've got your little punches that coordinate with those stamps. So really fun. We have the brushed metallic, as you can see. I've already used some of this. So you've got, I think they call it copper. Oh, the paper's stuck. Doesn't give you the colours on there, does it? I think it's copper, bronze and gold, if I remember right. Yes, bronze, copper, gold. So you've got the 3 colours there. I don't know whether I'd quite describe them as bronze, copper, gold, but they're very beautiful. And it is lovely that you've got this sort of brushed, hi Glenda, got this brushed effect on there. It's just, they're really lovely. They're lovely, lovely metallic cardstock. And then the paper, and the paper is just beautiful, because it is foiled, so it is a speciality pack. Come out wherever you are. So you've got things like the acorns and the leaves here that you can punch out with your punch. Look at that, that's beautiful, isn't it? So that's all foiled. I love this stripe. But on the other side you've got those leaves that are foiled, so again you can punch those out. There's lots of leaves and things on there with this beautiful background here, and that's the paper we're going to use. You've got like this dog tooth check on there with this more beautiful leaves here. Pumpkins and squashes with this spotty background. Is that the 6 different ones? Yep, I think that's everything covered, isn't it? But just, they're lovely, lovely papers. So I can't wait to be playing with those in a Lilypad Stamp Club, where we get to do lots of things with them. But the paper that I've chosen to do our Love It, Chop It is this one here. So on the one side, you've sort of got this mint macaron ombre almost effect in the background with these gold, this gold foiling. And then on the back of that paper, you have got this print with all these leaves. And just lovely, lovely colours. These are really quite my colours. I really like these sorts of colours. I think I've got an October birthday, so whether that's why I'm sort of a bit of a autumn colour girl, I don't know. Are the two connected? Who knows? But I'm going to get my trimmer. If you've never come across the concept of Love It, Chop It before, I'm sure many of you have. The idea behind it, and this was what I was sort of saying to my team the other day, the idea behind it is that it's almost psychological. The psychology of taking that piece of paper and creating a card with it, it's quite hard to cut into it because we like to stroke it. Excellent. You might like to sniff it. You might like to do all of those things. But what is very hard to do is actually use it. So the idea, the concept of Love It, Chop It is that you chop your paper, you take your paper and you instantly chop it up. So I'm going to chop these into 10 centimetre strips. Now we might not go on to use the whole thing today. We'll see how we get on, how far we get. I have got to be off of this video by 7 tonight. Okay, so we've chopped it into 10 centimetre strips, and that has given us this little slither on the side. You don't necessarily have to lose that. You could use that as a border, particularly this side with the foiling on. Make like a nice, almost like faux ribbon border. And then I'm going to swing it around the other side, and I'm going to chop it to 14.4, which is the mat that you put on the front of a card. And again, we're going to have a bit here that's left over, but you know, you could very easily see that you'd be able to use that on a card as a bit of an accent, or on the inside of a card as a bit of an accent. Let's put these two together. We'll cut these together at the same time. So we're going to do them into 14.4. Now I know for some people, they take every pack of paper that comes through their door and they do this to it, and then just store it in little sheets like this, ready to go. That is just a step too far for me personally. That would make me particularly twitchy, but very occasionally I do scrapbook type things as well, or projects where I want to make gift bags and those sorts of things. So if I was going to do it, I would do it to one sheet and leave the other sheet whole. But we now have 6 sheets, and we can use either side or both sides. We have our 6 sheets that we can do something with. So we could indeed use that as a mat in the background and chop this one down and work the two together. There's no reason why you can't do that, or have half and half, or all sorts of things. But we've got 6 sheets, and it is far easier to think of something to do with that size sheet than it is to do with a 12 by 12 sheet. And that is the whole sort of psychology about the Love It, Chop It. It is really, don't just have your piles of paper building up around you. Chop them up and get them used. Make them into cards and into projects. So where shall we start? I have literally not even thought about this. So we are going to just go with the flow. Give good choice ordering this paper. It is beautiful. I do love it. But as I say, I really love this sort of colour tones anyway. So let's make ourselves, hi Molly, a mint macaron background. And I'm going to take that paper, I actually dig into my metallics, and let's see, I think that's the one that's going to match most with that background just there. Now this is, how wide are you? It is about 1.7, perhaps just a smidge over 1.7. I'm going to cut a strip of this off that's 2 centimetres wide. And then we know that that's 10 centimetres. So I'm going to cut this to 10 centimetres. See, I hesitated then. Should I go 10 or should I go 10 and a half? Beautiful paper, isn't it? Lovely for mail cards, Angie. It really is. So there we are. We've given that a bit of a gold foil background. I'm going to dig about. I'm going to dig out these lovely labels. They're brilliant for this sort of a job. those down. What have I done with my stamp set? I think we'll have a beautiful day, shall we? That would work, wouldn't it? Will it fit in there? No, not quite. I think I'm going to go have a beautiful day anyway. And actually what I'm going to do, morning Carol, let's take a block. Let's take our have a beautiful day. Got some oddments of very vanilla card here. I'm going to cut this label. And I think I'm going to stamp in Early Espresso. I think we're going to pick out the darkest colour just there. Yeah. These are the ink colours. Let me pop those to one side. And let's get our Early Espresso. And that. The evening job hasn't really started too much of a vengeance yet, Carol. Last night was only 9 till 10, so that was, you know, easy start. Tonight it starts at 7 o'clock and goes through until 3:30 in the morning, so that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I think it's going to try and find a bit of a nap time at some point during the early evening, I think. Right, I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do was get myself some masking low tack tape, and we will go with Have A to start with. Yeah, plenty of, I'm going to try to avoid the goodies where I can, but plenty of drinks and things to keep me going. I'm hoping that it's going to be, it was very exciting actually. You wonder, don't you, with an online event, so it's a completely online event. This Leaders Summit was originally supposed to be in New Orleans, thank goodness it wasn't this week. But as like lots of things has had to go online. I actually wasn't going to be able to get to New Orleans. Couldn't quite justify that in my budget. So for me this is a big plus, because it means I'm going to be able to attend the event, whereas I wouldn't have been able to before. Right, so we've done the Have A. Now I'm going to ink up the beautiful day. But it was actually quite exciting waiting for it to start yesterday. You do wonder whether there will be a sense of excitement. But we've got as UK leaders, we've got a WhatsApp group. So yeah, we were all whooping each other up into excitement, and probably more so than we would have been really. Although you'd have been there all together, we wouldn't have been able to be talking to everybody the way we are in our WhatsApp group. So, you know, there's very definitely positives to these things. Right, what shall we have on our little I'm going to take this sort of little leaf stamp just here, and the mint macaron, where I've got a little bit of scrap sort of paper. Let me just rest that just there, because what I'm going to do is ink it up with mint macaron, but then stamp off, just so we have a bit of a something going on in the background, but not so that it overpowers our greeting. Yeah, you've got to get up at 3. Oh, Angie. Oh, abstract art. How lovely. I did see it. I saw a local lady had got a watercolouring peonies class going on. I thought, how apt was that? Might have to have a little look. Yeah, I think there's lots of pluses with Zoom. Right, I'm going to... Oh, my paper's sticking to everything. And to find one of the little... let's get this out. This one's got all the little acorns and things on it. So let's... just punch out a few of these. And we'll have some of these going on. Could have that little acorn. And what shaped leaf haven't we got? This one. Can I get to one of the little green ones? I think I can. Yeah, I think we're able to do things on Zoom that we probably wouldn't have gone and done. You know, in some ways perhaps it brings the price point down a little bit as well, because people aren't having to, although they're having to pay for their Zoom, they're not having to pay for a venue, they're not having to provide refreshments, you do all that yourself. If they're having to send you a kit, obviously there is postage. Let's have that little green leaf just there. So there is another little type of leaf on there that we could have die cut. I'm actually going to, looking at that, I am going to die cut and explode. I think it needs a bit of gold, metallic gold in the background as well. They are, I mean, I love a punch and I love a baby punch. I think they're beautiful, and the fact that there's a lot of the images in the paper that you can punch out makes it fabulous. And obviously you can punch out your stamped images as well. It's a great little suite, and if you're if you focus on the Christmas things, you might miss it. Don't miss it. It is beautiful. I'm going to cut this in half and just give our little label a bit of gold top and bottom. I think that will help it to pop even more. So let's stick this together. So we'll start off with our card. It is sad, isn't it, to be sticking that gold foil down. Don't think about it. Just put the glue on, because it is beautiful this side as well. And the thing about these papers and things is that, you know, if you found that you've used them all, it's okay. You can get more. It's there's still some more left. Don't have to be frightened to use them. Stock up. Let's even buy 2 packs and have one that you chop up and one that you don't. I'm going to stick that directly down. So that's just our little edge bit that we've chopped off the bottom when we loved it and chopped it. I'm going to with a little slither of glue top and bottom there. Of course, there's a whole Facebook page that is completely devoted to Love It, Chop It. So it's one of Kylie Bertucci's Facebook pages. So that looks better, I think, with that gold foil on there. Now, do we want to add in some of the ribbon, although it is sort of a different metallic. I think we might add in, leave it there for now, we might come back to it. I'm going to pop this on with dimensionals on the top here. It is called the Gilded Autumn Suite, Carol. There's some really nice autumny things in this mini catalogue. I love the autumn goodness as well, with the wheelbarrows. So let's just put a little bit of spot of glue on there. Of course, we could go in with a acorn trinket if you wanted to. And then I think that little acorn, I'm going to put a little dimensional behind that as well. Could have done with a mini one really, but have that sticking up on there. Now, do we want a little bow the other end? That's quite cute. I like the way this ribbon is twisted. And to leave those ends fairly long and dangly, let's find some glue dots. And there we go. Have a beautiful day. So that's quite fun. So there's one card. Oh. Let's take another bit of paper. I'm going to actually create a early espresso card place for this one. So with these we'd need to go in and add in a card insert at some point and do a little bit of stamping on the inside just to give that a bit of prettiness, so it's not a bare inside, but we'll concentrate on the outsides for now. I'm actually going to take my little bit of paper and I'm going to trim it down a little bit more. I'm actually going to make this one 13.9 by 9.5. I've just trimmed a couple of little bits off of there. Again, you can tuck those away and use those as sort of faux ribbons. And then with this one, I'm actually going to trim off, let's make it 3 centimetres, like that. And I think we're going to go Occasion Craze Matte. It's a fabulous colour, isn't it, Occasion Craze? Really pops. We'll make that 14.4 by 10. Let's flip this over, and just like that, got a brilliant card front. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could do that the other way round and have it like that. But I think I like it that way better. You might have some of this ribbon coming in on this one. That is rain, Jane. Yes. It is. It's been raining for about, I don't know, 40, well, it feels like forever. Last few days we've had rain, rain and more rain. We'll have a nice little swirl of ribbon with this one. Don't like that. But what colour? We're going to go Cajun Craze again. Let's take that out the middle of our Cajun Craze. I think the rain is getting heavier and heavier. So if I start shouting at you over the top of the rain, I'm going to cut this out of the middle. Of here. I'm just wondering actually whether, no, because the paper goes the other way. That's the other thing that you can do, is be aware of your paper. So you can do it so that some goes some way and some goes the other. But with this one, I think our paper very definitely is going that way. So we're going to need, oh, quite like that though. Yep. I'm going to cut a piece of mint macaron to go in the middle of there. Just hunting through my little random bits of card. Has the mint macaron gone missing? No, here it is. So we've got rain and rustling bags going on. Hope nobody's got a headache this morning. That will fit on there. It says, "My heart is grateful for you." I think again we're going to go early espresso, just because that will stand out quite nicely on that mint macaron. No, you're not losing it, Jane, you're okay. It very definitely is rain. I think we're getting the back end of some of the storms that they've been experiencing in the States. So we've had gale force winds and rain, but we still need to be very grateful because we don't get it, as annoying as it is. And although we do get problems with some flooding, localised flooding and things, we still don't get the degree of devastation they get there. Right, so I'm going to stick this, "My heart is grateful for you," on this. I do love these labels. Let's pop our mat with a hole in onto our card base. Let's add in a strip of gold foiled. And then our strip with of patterned paper. And voila, the hole has disappeared. No, I don't think I do want that. I might come out just this way a little bit. Let's chop that end off. I actually like the fact that this ribbon frays a little bit, so let's tease that out even more and do the same with this end. Deliberately make it fluffy ended. And grab my double-sided tape and we'll stick that to the back of our label. Oh, my label has gone skewy. Excuse me, you've wonky-fied. They have to stay a bit wonky-fied. Let's take some of our dimensionals and just pop those on the back. And have that label raised up. I suppose the rain goes quite well. The sort of dull clouds and the rain goes quite well with the idea of doing autumnal crafting. I think I might put a couple more leaves in here. Let's it's getting them the right way to go through the punch, isn't it? Obviously we could have stamped these and punched them, but we're going with speed. And we get that paper lined up right in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out of there, take a little bit of card, let's just stick a little bit of glue to the end of that just so that it holds, and then we've got a handle. Perfect. Just like that. And take that back off the edge there. And I'm going to take some of the gold trim that comes from the Forever greenery. I'm going to thread that through. This does really fray. I'm going to thread that through the top of that acorn. And let's get hold of that and pull that way and that way. Actually, it's quite fun, isn't it, that's sort of quite loopy. Almost want that one to go quite loopy as well. Go quite loopy. Open up those threads. And then we will take the madness of that loopy thread. Just going to take a couple of glue dots on the back of that acorn to hold it in place. Let's stick down our leaves first. We'll have one. Rather a lot of glue on that one, but that's okay because we're about to stick the acorn on the top. 2. Oh, let's get rid of these spray. Oh no, don't come undone. Stuck to my finger. Don't come undone. Stuck to everything now. Oh dear. Stay. I might just have to trim off a few of those stray threads. Let's get rid of this one here. Okay, so that's 2. I think we've got time to go for a third. What shall we do with our next piece of paper? I think we ought to try and use we'll have one where we're using the metallic here. So with that one, I'm going to make a very vanilla background, that card base. Now, do I want that to have something in the back? And if I do, what do I want it to have in the back? No, definitely doesn't want to be crumb cake. It either needs to be the really contrasting early espresso, or the more tone on tone think I'm going to go early espresso. I think I'm going to go with the pop of colour. So let's cut this down to 14.4 by 10, or whatever your standard card first size mat is for your card bases. If ever you do get stuck, if you're stuck converting things from American sizing to metric sizing and back, or vice versa, as well as loving and chopping it, Kylie Tucci's also produced a whole little set of templates, and quite cleverly what she's done is that she's sort of said, here's your standard card base, cut that in whatever colour, mat size 1 is in whatever colour, so that you know that if you're using the pink base, or somebody's using the pink base in a UK colour, they also want the pink base in the US. Quite a nice clever way of doing it. Right, so we've got our paper there. I think we ought to on this one do a little bit of stamping. We haven't really, apart from greetings, done very much stamping. These leaves are lovely, so we haven't touched on leaves, and we haven't touched on pine cones. Or little wheat sheaves. The others are all in this little leaf just here. Apart from that, I think they're all in the others are punchable ones, so we might come to a punchable one in a minute. But let's take some very vanilla card, and what would we like to do with some very vanilla card? I think perhaps we'll just have a sort of centre panel . Don't want to be as long as that. So 10.5 by 5.5, that is. Yep, that looks about right. And I'm going to cut a piece of early espresso. That is six by 11. Sit on there. So let's take our panel and look at what we're going to do with this. So I'm going to start off, pop that stamp on there, with this long leaf and some mint macaron. And I think what I'm going to do, here I've got some of my lovely fun post-it notes that are sticky all over. So I'm going to cut a piece of post-it note that is wide enough for that greeting to sit in. And we'll stick that across there, I think, to mask it. And then let's do some stamping. How's that? Then I'm going to take the infill stamp for that, for those leaves. I'm going to ink it up with Mac on again. I'm going to stamp off, and then we'll line that up, and we'll just fill our leaves in. Oh, we've got a blob. We will find a way of covering that up. Right, so there's some leaves. And then we've got our little pine cone. Oh, let me just throw a stamp at you. With the pine cone, I'm going to put the lid back on here, the Early Espresso. We'll see, we might want to fill in more, but we'll see. Let's take the infill bit for that one, and some crumb cake. And we'll just fill in our pine cones. These, of course, will be, you could cross these over to some of your Christmas cards. Got this itty bitty little leaf just here. So let's go Cajun Craze with that one. Just going to cover up that bit of leaf just there. Actually need my little oh, where did that go? Need to go and find, let's hope I don't need that leaf again this morning, because I've got to go and dig about on the floor now to find it. So let's take our Cajun Craze and stamp that off. Use that bottom bit. I'm going to stamp it off twice. Just hopefully be able to add in a bit of colour there. And not flick this leaf stamp onto the floor. We've also got these little leaves here. What I might do is come in with some crumb cake. And just sort of fill in some gaps just there. Right, let's reveal. Ooh, quite like that. So let's take our chosen greeting. Hi Tina. And early espresso for that, I think. This set is very definitely shouting a one sheet wonder, but that's okay because that's one of the things that we will do with it on our in the Lily Pad Stamp Club. So if you fancy joining us for a one sheet wonder, that's the place to find it. I like that, and in fact I don't know that wants very much more doing with it apart from sticking together. So let's do that. One of those cards that the time spent is just in stamping that panel. Everything else is just a matter of sticking it together. We could put a foil panel in there as layer in there as well if we wanted to, but I quite like just the sort of stark contrast of the early espresso with those colours and that little pop of Cajun craze in the leaves. We will put that up on some dimensionals, she said with great confidence. Yes, there they are. So the only other thing I'm going to add to that is somewhere. So dig about I have some gilded gems. And we'll just add in a few of those. So we still have, and just think you are time for bed if you're going to be up nice and early. So we still have here 3. We've only used half of our sheet of one sheet wonder, but you can see how once you've cut it down into those sizes, then you can start letting your imagination play. So we've got 3 lovely autumnal cards there, created with just half a sheet of DSP, some punches and a bit of stamping. So I hope you've enjoyed those. and I will be back. I won't be back on Monday morning because, one, having done 2 really late nights, I may not get up Monday morning in time to do a Facebook Live, and 2, it's a bank holiday here in the UK, so family and things will be around, but I'll perhaps try and make up for it by doing a video another morning, so watch out for that. I will let you know if I'm going to do that. Otherwise, have a really lovely rest of the day. Have a good night's sleep if you're heading off to bed, and I will catch up with you soon after my roller coaster weekend, and do come and join us and sign up for some of these classes. See you soon.